All right. Welcome back, everybody, to Altcoin Daily, where you subscribe and I try and bring you these stories about Bitcoin and crypto that the mainstream media does not talk about. If they do, they don't give you any context, they don't talk about it in any length. And again, I think we're witnessing history in the making. So this is our top story of the week. Is that the Venezuelan government is now officially recognizing Bitcoin and Litecoin as a means of payment and remittance in the country of Venezuela. And not just recognizing it, they are encouraging it, they are promoting it. And hopefully it'll do the country a lot of good. Now, there are plenty of nuanced details to this story. And believe you me, it is not all roses. So you and I were going to get into specifics, but before we do, again, I think this is really big news. I think this is history in the making. I need you to understand the significance of this event. And you and I, especially if you've been, keeping tabs on the market for a long time now, we are witnessing in real time this awareness of Bitcoin, this adoption of Bitcoin, this infrastructure that's being created around Bitcoin. And I think this is all growing at an exponential rate, in my opinion. Now, the general public, again, like I said, the media does not report on this. They don't know about this yet. It's going to take them, just like it probably took you several times having to hear about Bitcoin before something finally clicks and then they see the value that Bitcoin has. And it's similar to the internet in the 90s. I mean, I'm sure it took you several times hearing about the internet before one day you just woke up and you're like, oh, well, I mean, I guess the internet is a thing now. So the same thing is happening with Bitcoin, in my opinion. Which leads us to this. This is the first time that we have seen a government turn to Bitcoin like this. So let me give you some context about what's going on with Venezuela. You probably already know about the crisis that's happening, but if you don't, I mean, Venezuela, they're in turmoil right now, and they need a lot of help. So they're going through a humanitarian crisis where they have a dictator who's trying to seize more and more power. There's U.S. sanctions, trying to prevent money and resources from flowing into the country because they're trying to stop this dictator. There is riots in the streets. There's a shortage of food, medicine, basic necessities. And more than that, how this applies to us today is that they don't have a reliable way to store and send money. Their own fiat currency, which is a government-backed and issued currency, has gone through hyperinflation. So even just buying a small amount of something cheap, it would cost you stacks and stacks of $100 bills. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands just to buy a box of cereal. So their official national cryptocurrency, it's not a good store of value. It's not a good means of exchange. I mean, you can see the country's got problems. They need to fix themselves. And one of the things that they did to try and fix themselves last year was they tried to create their own altcoin. It was called the Petro, and it was tethered to the country's oil and mineral reserves, and it's centralized. And guess what? Turns out this is not a good store of value for them either. It was corrupt. It did not work. Which leads us to today. And actually, we've already seen that the people of Venezuela have started to increasingly buy and use Bitcoin. You probably saw this. This is according to LocalBitcoins.com, the volume for Venezuela. And I mean, the interesting thing here is, because it was kind of expected that people in Venezuela would start using cryptocurrency, the surprise is that the government is now getting involved. So as political tensions rise to all-time highs, Venezuela is launching a government-sanctioned cryptocurrency remittance service. The platform will allow users to send Bitcoin and Litecoin, and is designed to guarantee financial inclusion along with the social protection of the people of Venezuela. The Bitcoin remittance platform is another attempt by their president to beat U.S. sanctions and thwart the opposition. This is an attempt to try and circumvent U.S. sanctions. The Venezuelan government, they set up this platform so that people outside of Venezuela can send Bitcoin or Litecoin into the country. And to give you the whole picture, basically what this article talks about is once they receive the Bitcoin or Litecoin, it then gets converted back into their native currency, the Bolivar, and then it gets distributed to the people. And there is a 15% fee on this service, so the government takes their 15% cut. And actually, I do want to give a shout out to the Modern Investor. He originally covered this the other day. He has a great channel. I think he's really smart, valuable content. You should all subscribe to this guy. I'm going to leave a link to his stuff in the description. But all right, let's talk about this. There's no way anybody could argue any different. This is a step in the right direction. We already know that cryptocurrency as a whole has been increasing, whether we're talking about Bitcoin or Dash. people have been trying to implement cryptocurrency in Venezuela to help these guys out. So with this service, the fact that this is nationally backed right now, this is what I think. I think it's only a matter of time before the entire population of Venezuela realizes, hey, we don't have to go through the government. We can actually just receive Bitcoin ourselves, especially since the government is converting back into their fiat currency, which they already know is not a good store of value. It does not retain value by any means. So I think it's only a matter of time before one of three things happen. Number one, it's only a matter of time before the citizens themselves realize that, oh, hey, I can just receive Bitcoin on my own. No government fees, no intervention. And wow, Bitcoin retains value way better than the Bolivier. Then, if that happens, Bitcoin would become possibly a preferred currency in Venezuela through a grassroots movement, and then the volume and use case would continue to skyrocket, just like we've been seeing. Another possible future that we have going for us is that the Venezuelan government, in an effort to start helping its people fix the problems in the country, they make Bitcoin or Litecoin or whatever the official currency of the nation, and then they themselves start building up their reserves. And if that happens, a third possible future would be that we'd start seeing many governments around the world start accumulating Bitcoin in their reserves, and maybe even recognizing it as an alternative currency for the nation. Make no mistake about it. This is another domino that has fallen. This is the same snowball that continues to roll and continues to accumulate. That being said, let's talk about the market in general right now. I mean, it seems especially lately, we've been seeing just a string of great news that to me suggests this whole market has a lot of room to grow. But everything that we've been showing you here recently, these are all good long-term predictors. So, these really aren't good at predicting the short term because this is still a young market. Anything could happen. And my personal feelings, I'm no expert, you guys know that. I'm just an investor and a cryptocurrency enthusiast. At the earliest, I don't expect another bull run until, at the earliest, the end of this year, the end of 2019. Do I think either way, at the end of this year, we'll be at a higher price than we are right now? Yes, I actually do. But as far as going on a bull run, surpassing all-time highs, we're going to have to wait until the end of this year at the earliest, possibly a couple years. And that's okay, because the more time where we can just get accumulation under 20,000, I think as soon as we pass the $20,000 mark in the future, as soon as we pass that, then that will just make that bull run even bigger. I don't know. You guys know I'm accumulating. We could have hit bottom back here. We could have a bull run in 3 months. Who knows? Going along with that, the Twitter CEO is cost averaging right now, buying 10,000 in Bitcoin each week. Let me give you the details. Jack Dorsey, Twitter CEO, recently took to the podcast of industry content creator Marty Bent, known as Tales from the Crypt, to give a 30-minute interview about his whole involvement in this potentially revolutionary business. Although Dorsey reiterated some of what he said in previous media interviews, the Twitter CEO exclusively divulged a bit about how he invests in cryptocurrencies. In a surprising turn of the conversation, he explained that he purchased $10,000 worth of Bitcoin, which currently amounts to 2.7 Bitcoins over the recent week, and could do the same in the following. Doing some napkin math, this works out to be around about $500,000 in cryptocurrency purchases a year, considering he doesn't go over that amount or purchase any other digital asset, or about 0.0928% of his $5.6 billion net worth. So he is definitely not investing more than he can afford to lose. That's super smart, Jack Dorsey. Although this isn't a relatively large amount percentage-wise, it shows that Dorsey is looking to accumulate for the long haul as he costs average in. Final thing I want to talk about today is this backlash that a lot of people had against Coinbase as they acquired Neutrino. Now, what did Neutrino do? I believe they had a problem accumulating and selling customers' data, and Coinbase just acquired them, and there was a huge backlash, and this is a blog post they released in response to that. They basically stated how they acquired Neutrino for the technology. They said, however, we had a gap in our due diligence process. While we looked hard at the technology and security of the Neutrino product, we did not properly evaluate everything from the perspective of our mission and values as a cryptocurrency company. We took some time to dig further over this past week, probably seeing the backlash, and together with the Neutrino team, we have come to an agreement. Those who previously worked at Hacking Team, despite the fact that they have no current affiliation with Hacking Team, will transition out of Coinbase. This was not an easy decision, but their prior work does present a conflict with our mission. We are thankful to the Neutrino team for engaging us with this outcome. So, does this mean Coinbase is back in your good graces? I know a lot of people didn't care for them before. Coinbase was how I initially bought my first Bitcoin, so we'll see. They're still going to be around either way. Will you support them? Let me know in the comments. And that is it for me, my friends. This is Aaron at Altcoin Daily. Starbucks Help has still not responded to our tweet from the other day. You guys should check out our Twitter. Actually, check out this video right here. This is gives a really cool kind of like, it shows you the market cap of the top 15 cryptocurrencies through the years. Lo and behold, look at how Bitcoin has always stayed at number one. All right, that is it for me, my friends. Hope I was able to convey this Venezuela news as succinctly and concisely as I could. I think this is a big step, but let me know your thoughts. All right, see you tomorrow.